talking basketball. They're fucking dumb as shit. They don't know basketball, but they will make dumb ass jokes.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pod Don't Lie with Sam and Stav. We are here. I'm still basking in the championship glow. But you know, we're fucking serious journalists, Sam.
But while you bask, we plan. The Knicks are making moves this offseason, brother. Enjoy the love, enjoy the fun, but
hey, I don't know. I know I have and look, I'm tired of hearing it from you fucking haters online. And even Sam, you've dipped your little hairy toe in it as well. And I know you have hairy toes, by the way. I've never seen your feet, but I can.
Well, my feet aren't that bad, but the toes,
exactly. I could, in my mind's eye, for whatever reason, I see a little fucking couple curlies coming out of your big toe.
You'll be flossing when I dip them in your mouth. You'll be flossing a little bit.
I will not be sucking your gnarled, thin foot.
I have like those bear claws too for toenails, where like I could catch a salmon with these motherfuckers.
Yeah, you've got thin spears with like a knife edge at the end, whereas I'm more of a dull, flat Fred Flintstone ribeye shaped foot.
Oh.
I'm built for I'm a good sturdy base.
You're built for like Rockport shoes.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, dude, the shoe. It is tough finding a shoe that actually fits me. And what's your
basketball? What's your like ideal basketball player sneaker that has fit you well?
Well, that's the problem, dude. It's been for even growing up, I would get
Ewings.
The Ewings, dude. I suffered an injury in the Ewings. I thought it would be the Ewings, but they're the ones that I fucked at the Skanks Fest basketball tournament. You and I gotta get in that. Me and someone else.
I
can't. I can't do it. I can't.
You can be coach.
I can't return to the scene of the crime.
It'll be the Pod Don't Lie. You'll be coach Stavi.
I can coach.
Maybe it'll be me, John Laster, and
We need to get some ringers involved. Who else has been on the show? Chris DiStefano, he's done our show.
Yeah, but he's a ringer.
That's
dude.
A good fuck.
I've played with Chris. He can fucking hoop. He doesn't miss a jump shot. That guy.
Yeah, it's so crazy to hear. To hear his story about his dad. Did he say it on our podcast, or did we just have that conversation with him off mic? Where his dad, I think he must have brought it up. Where his dad used to have they would just go shoot hoops outside, and his dad would have like a fucking broom, and who his father, who he called Leroy, by the way. It's a little something tells me Mr. DiStefano doesn't really worry about PC language and PC culture.
In Bushwick 1980s, it probably wasn't it was a different Bushwick.
It was definitely a different Bushwick. Anyway, look, we are here, folks. We are here. We're recording, and we're back from the championship parade. I wish I could have been in Milwaukee. That would have been incredible for me to just fly up there, get some fucking
COVID.
Yeah, listen, I'm vaccinated. I'll take a diminished Delta variant to eat cheese curds and watch PJ Tucker guzzle champagne and maybe suck some big fat Wisconsin titties. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, speaking of, I'm in fucking Nashville right now. I was just walking. This is like Bourbon Street meets Cancun. This is insanity because people fled here during the pandemic because they just didn't shut down.
Right.
So now it's like drunks who just didn't leave.
Yeah.
This has got a fucked up. I've seen more tiaras than I've ever seen in my life. The amount of bachelorette parties.
Oh,
this is madness, dude.
I can't. Yeah, listen. Prince of Pleasure tour. Everyone, go buy your tickets before the Delta variant shuts it down. But
this ain't shutting down.
Yeah.
This. I thought Florida was reckless. I'm in Nashville. I'm like, these motherfuckers. This is the closest seated comedy show I may have ever done.
They were putting motherfuckers in each other's laps.
Dude, Nashville.
Isn't that where DL Hughley collapsed on stage from COVID?
They still have the chalk outline on stage. No.
They have his bowler hat hanging in the rafters.
Dude, that was scary. Yeah, no, this club is awesome, but I'm, by the way, Hattie B's hot chicken. Holy shit. Last night, this place is like, this is legit for sure.
Yeah,
Nashville is cool as hell, but I'm telling you, I was just in the pool in this hotel with DeVito, and it's like the drunkest women you've ever seen. Like women coming up to us like, and we're just like, Like a woman walks up to Anthony, why are you here? And we're just like, we just made up this whole lie about how he's getting married.
Yeah,
and I didn't think she was gonna keep asking questions, so we got in pretty deep. It turned into like Anthony was talking about like a prenup. I'm like, Jesus, I thought this was gonna be like a funny one-line exchange. It went on for like 10 minutes where we're like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm the best man. And she's like, really? I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. That is tough. I can't even like, as someone who's trying to get pussy from drunk women and I'm annoyed by them, I can't imagine what two men in relationships were feeling in that
it's
moment.
rough. Yeah, we're just sitting there like, thought this would be a funny joke, and now we're just we just want you to leave. You gotta tell him to
scram. He's like, get the fuck out of here, bitch.
We just got in the hot tub and started making up country music. That was our whole thing.
You guys should listen. Your next move, you get those women, you got to start kissing. You guys got to start kissing. You're like, excuse me, we're using this pool for our activities.
That's the only types of germs that gross out people in Nashville. Two men kissing.
Those women would put on masks while around you guys kissing. They're like, we don't want to catch being gay.
Oh, you think I'm fucking hairy, by the way? Anthony DeVito. This dude he has a joke about being like a cat, and it's like, holy shit, he's a cat.
I love that. That's a hirsute twosome right there. You guys fucking making out might start a little brush fire.
It is. Yeah, you're right. Our fucking pubes are like kindling. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude. Don't throw Doritos and a lighter near your pubes. It's going to catch real fast. That's beautiful. Well, thank you for Sammy's calling in here from Nashville. Next, listen, folks, you want to talk about some dedication. Sam's on the road next week. In fact, this week, this Thursday or Friday, post-draft, I will be doing the episode from Athens, Greece. How about that?
Wow.
All right. Listen, after
I'll be in Belmore, New York.
You'll be in Belmore?
Just as fucking beautiful, man. Long Island.
So that's dedication to the craft. I originally intended not to fucking do the podcast that week, but then I looked, it's the fucking draft. There'll be free agency stuff. And we're going to get into a lot of that stuff right here on this episode. But, shit always happens. So we're going to recap that. And then the week after, who knows? Maybe we'll take a little hiatus. Who knows? Listen, folks, the point is we're here and we're about to cover the draft for your sweet little asses. And we're going to talk some fun rumors. There's a lot of shit going on. I dove in since our last episode. We clearly did not know anything about the draft. That much was obvious. And look, do we know much more? No. But I spent the last few days listening to a bunch of podcasts, reading a bunch of draft guides, The Athletic, The Ringer, Jonathan Cavoni, Chad Ford's NBA Big Board, a lot of good stuff. I familiarized myself with some of these players. I watched some fucking highlights. I did some shit. And, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on with these prospects. I'm ready to talk prospects, not just about their skills, but I also have some thoughts about, we got our own criteria to judge guys on around here. When it comes
I've been
to
looking at some
lie.
of the trade rumors, so I'm glad you did that. I'm fascinated with which guys could be moved right before or right after. Who knows?
Yeah, well, see, I think so from everything I'm hearing, from all the stuff that I was reading and stuff, is like everyone thinks this draft class is better than last year's. And by the way, everyone was shitting on last year's draft class, but a lot of productive players. Like they were good. Obviously, everyone was wrong about LaMelo. But
also it's been a year. Like we don't know. Like, Edwards could be a superstar. He could be like a solid NBA player. You don't really know after.
That's true. That's true. But I will say
same with Wiseman.
Wiseman, certainly the guys that didn't produce, it's too early to bury them. Wiseman is the perfect example. But I also think we got a lot of guys that were way more productive than rookies usually are this year. I mean, just a Halliburton, Ball,
Emmanuel
quickly fucking was playing, was really playing. You had, even a Kongwu was like, he gave
was
him,
good. Good
he
player.
was giving Giannis. I mean, he was hurt most of the year, so it's not like his production was that fucking crazy. But for a draft that everyone that everybody said was kind of fucking dog shit, you had Sadiq Bey was looking fucking awesome. You just had like there's
Hey man, Detroit could be in a nice little position right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you get the number one pick, obviously, and everyone is sucking off. But yeah, who else?
Cunningham.
Who else am I fucking missing? Jayshawn Tate was pretty good. We said Sadiq. Yeah, I don't know. Quickly. Cole Anthony might end up being a player. Memphis drafted a couple.
But that's
guys.
my point. Like, you don't know what these dudes are going to be after a year. So
I do think
Anthony showed promise. He had a couple game winners this year too. So he's got fat nuts.
I just think like it early returns are better than what everybody was saying, and so everyone was saying like I listening to these podcasts or reading all these draft guides and shit. Some people do their things on tiers. Like Chad Ford, for example, has tiers. They do it that way. Sam Vecini, The Athletic, has tiers, and Ford especially was talking about Chad Ford, who's like a draft legend. Like I feel like I was reading him in fucking 8th grade. That he was like the first mock draft guy, and they were saying that last year nobody was a tier 1 prospect for them. And they were wrong. Obviously, LaMelo was.
LaMelo's top 5 in any draft, I would think.
Well, and top. These tiers are like superstar potential, right? And so, and then some people have, 3 guys. Some people have Cade. Everyone has Cade at least in that tier, at least. And then some people have Jalen Green in there. Some people have Mobley. And maybe Suggs is kind of like on the cusp between like his ceiling being superstar and being just like all-star. The difference between an all-NBA and an all-star player, which is legitimate, but it just depends.
All-NBA, like a Julius Randle, second team All-NBA type.
Yeah, I think
or
he's
like a Devin Booker, someone who didn't even make it on.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, Devin Booker. I think we can all agree would rather have Julius Randle.
I'm excited, dude. It was his first playoffs. I am really excited for this young Knicks core. Like, I hope we make some moves. There's a lot of rumors swirling around about guys being potentially available. I don't know if you go for the home run swing quite yet because we're not close enough.
I would not. Yeah, I don't think it's home.
I'll say this. We never build. I like seeing us.
I agree with you. I like a slow build.
Squander what we have because we have a lot of cool guys and we have a lot of potential, and we always trade our potential for an older name, i.e. the Ariza Francis trade,
right.
Stevie franchise when we already had Marbury. It was
right. That
insane.
was fucking crazy. And something that I don't know how you would view it, but what do you think about this? Did you see how the Knicks re-signed Scott Perry to be he's still the GM? He was on an expiring. Do you feel good about that, or would you have wanted Leon Rose to get a different GM in there? I mean, Perry drafted Kevin Knox. He was the guy who signed all the power forwards, all this kind of stuff.
Well, I think that was a pretty rough offseason. I will say that Perry does have good relationships around the league. People do seem to like Perry a lot. Yeah, I mean, the Knox thing seems like it was a whiff. It seems like a pretty bad whiff. But
you almost said was a whiff. You stopped yourself and said seems it was a whiff. Folks, if you're not watching on YouTube, do yourselves a favor.
He could still be a solid NBA player. You don't think he could still be a solid NBA player? He's a good shooter. I think a lot of it is like that Frankie shit where it's like nerves, man. Come on, man. What is he, 20, dude?
I guess he's a whiff. Look, one way or another, it was a whiff.
If he turns it around,
it was a whiff of a pick. Even if he turns it around, let's not.
Okay, fine. Like, let's be real. Neil Aquina is a tough one to look back at too.
That's a whiff too. I love Frank, but it's a whiff. Come on,
it's tough. I don't
think Frank is going to stick on in New York. I think he's going to go somewhere else.
Well, I wish him the best wherever he goes because I really do like the kid and he plays hard and there's a lot to like. So I hope he figures out. He still looks a little just offensively challenged.
Yeah, Kevin Knox looks almost everything challenged.
He's a good jump shooter.
He's a good shooter. He's a solid 3-point shooter.
It's just, I think the problem is he's that one of those weird, the tweener positions kind of changed.
This year he shot better. This year he shot better than he has.
His 3-point shot is good, but the problem is he's kind of slow. He doesn't have great lateral quickness. Like I thought his whole thing was, I've never been more fooled by a player. Like that summer league, I really thought he was Jason Tatum. Like he looked, but dude, it wasn't just the scoring. Like his shot looked incredible in that summer league. He looked.
Yeah, he had a great summer league for sure.
His stroke looks pure. So, yeah.
It's a whiff. We're done. We're done talking about Kevin Knox.
You brought it up, motherfucker.
I barely brought it up.
You do that. You know who you are. You're the
barely
motherfucker
brought
at
it
the
up.
dinner table who pokes your brother under the table, and then the brother goes, "What?" And then he gets in trouble. That's what it is. You yelled at your brother Stavros.
Not at all. Not at all. I'm the guy who clears his throat. And it sounds sort of like I was like Knox, and you're like Kevin Knox, and then you start talking. You're at the dinner table, and I guess I should have known better because my autistic brother was gonna.
You're gonna be so unbearable now that you won a ring.
Was gonna go off on a 30-minute tangent.
Your boys won. You're gonna be such an unbearable, pretentious. Fuck.
I asked you about Scott Perry.
You're gonna fucking show up in a Giannis jersey and a fucking beret. You're gonna be such an unbearable.
That's right.
Fuck.
That's right. I'm gonna buy a replica championship ring and start wearing it around places.
I hope you fucking OD on cheese curds.
I can't wait to go. I can't wait. I got to get Milwaukee on the tour. We got
but you got to get it during the next season though.
Yeah, for sure. That's true. I love Milwaukee. I played there last.
Quick shout out to guys. I feel bad for guys. I always feel bad for guys who are like a part of building something and aren't there for the championship. Like I'll forever feel bad for DeMar DeRozan, for not being part. To some extent, I feel bad for Eric Bledsoe, man. I mean, he was there year in, year out. You can't fault his hustle and his drive. Like he played so hard. He's another offensively, kind of a choke offensive
I feel
guy.
bad for him, sure, but not in a way of like he earns this because.
I didn't say that's not at all what I said. I said feel bad.
With DeRozan, it's a different thing.
It's different in that he's a much better player. But what I'm saying about Bledsoe, he helped establish that team as a defensive-minded team.
I guess what I feel, I guess it would have been nice if he could have stuck around. But where they really fucked up is the extension.
Brogdon.
I mean, I've talked about it 100 times. That in that middle of that season, they gave Bledsoe an extension and they didn't give it to Brogdon. Sure. And there's never been a bigger fucking.
Well, Brogdon is a much better offensive player than Drew Holiday. Brogdon is Holiday's a much better defender, but but Brogdon, his offensive numbers this year, like that guy just keeps getting
great.
better.
No, listen.
I would fucking love a guy like that, like just a fucking give us a Brogdon level point guard in New York, man. Yeah.
This is you're doing exactly to me what I just did to you by sort of mentioning Knox because you just brought up Bledsoe and now I'm about to and I'm really trying to bite my tongue about how John Horst got really lucky with this championship, but you know what? Whatever it took, because they've made a lot of fucking errors as a GM, he really fucked up a lot of things, but you know what? World champions, we're not talking about it. Sam, am not going to go off on a little tangent here. I'm going to bring us back to what we were talking about.
Yeah, but it took a lot of effort.
Draft. It took a lot of effort. It did take. I'm not saying it didn't take effort. But you know what? I fucking maintained my fucking composure, unlike somebody on this fucking podcast. Anyway, let's talk about the fucking draft. I regret mentioning Scott Perry, and then and also Kevin Knox, and we will continue discussing these prospects. And I will say one thing that was weird.
You're fucking the most annoying.
One thing that was weird.
I regret mentioning.
I'm sorry for bringing it up. I'm sorry for bringing it up. I should have known what it would have done to you, Sam. And that's growth on my part.
We're on the
That's
upswing.
growth on my part. We're gonna talk Knicks, but I will say
RJ's gonna take another step next year. Look out.
I'm rooting for it. Don't act like I have to check
RJ.
you.
You love RJ.
I do love RJ.
Good.
My goal, my role on this podcast is to check you, but I want the best for the Knicks.
Good.
You know that.
Good.
And if it wasn't for Giannis, I wouldn't. If it wasn't,
you check me like fucking Robert Horry checking Steve Nash into that fucking board in the.
I do. But the difference is, it'd be like if Nash, whispered in Robert Horry's ear, like, "I fucked your wife." You know what I mean? You deserve getting checked that hard. That's the difference here.
Mike keeps disconnecting, dude. We might just have to use from the fucking Zoom now.
That's
This
fine.
is fucking-
We can use Zoom.
Sorry about that.
That's
It's
all
still
good.
coming through, I think, on the
Yeah,
Zoom,
on
right?
Zoom you sound great. You
Okay,
sound great.
good. It's my fucking garage band.
That's cool. Anyway, so what the fuck were we talking about? Oh, I was gonna say it is nice that we're not talking Knicks in the lottery. That's the other funny thing. Last year,
It is and it isn't. It would have been nice to have a young stud coming in, but we do have 2 first-round picks still, and we have
first round picks.
and we have a team that has sniffed success in the playoffs, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So talking about these these prospects and everybody that, so let's look at the top 4, I guess. Let's start there with Cade
Sure.
Cunningham. He seems to really be, I mean, it's a weird thing because everything I've read is like everyone's like, yeah, he's the number 1 pick, but there's like this weird but it shouldn't be, he's not Zion. Like it's almost like
Really?
that's everyone's saying like he's not that level of prospect. It's like, yes,
Okay, but
for
Zion's
sure.
got, as great as Zion is, there's red flags with Zion. And I think there were even then, even though he was like the consensus number 1.
But there was no discussion about taking anybody else.
Do you think it's crazy to want Ja Morant over Zion Williamson?
After 3 years, it's different. It's a different story than at the time. At the time, it was like
I remember them saying this is a 2-person draft.
They were saying there's a big drop off after 1 and 2, but Zion was it. It was never. No one was ever going to take Ja, right? And I
Fair
think
enough.
people are saying where it's like Cade is better. For some people, he just happens to be the best of a lot of good prospects. Now, some people see it the other way. Some people do put him in it, like at the Athletic, Vicini put him in, and for him, he was the only person in the superstar, category. And his game is just like, first of all, he's just huge. He's 6'8". He's a great ball handler, and he's a fucking 40% 3-point shooter. And when it comes to, and if you have those things, it's really fucking hard to not see you being, I mean, he's a starter at absolute minimum, high-level starter at absolute minimum right now. What people
Cunningham?
what people have like knocks about him is that is a little bit of the
You
athleticism.
just bring up Kevin Knox again?
The knocks against him, the Kevin Knox against him, or that is that we're just gonna welcome to the Pound Don't Lie draft 2021 draft special where we mentioned Kevin Knox for 15 minutes.
What's the Knox on him?
It's just that he like, and they're not real knocks. It's like, okay, his athleticism isn't as great as everybody else's, but he's got a huge feel for the game. And that's why I think people are kind of
To make that argument for Luka.
Exactly.
And
And
he's getting some Luka comps. So
and I think what people have a problem with is saying, don't Luka's just one of one. Just because you're not great at, athleticism doesn't mean you can be Luka. The Ringer
but
calls
some
him
of the best point guards are not the most athletic point guards, right? Like Dame and Steph,
Yeah,
I know are great
absolutely.
shooters, but like I get more scared by the crazy athletic point guards because that's when you get a Markelle Fultz.
right.
That's
Yeah.
when, even as great as Russell Westbrook is, you can't deny that he's not one of the more efficient top level point guards.
And I think and I think people are just getting fucking greedy because if Cade Cunningham had everything we just described and he was a freak athlete, then he is literally, we're talking
He's
about
LeBron.
LeBron James
Yeah.
with a slightly better jumper. That's what we're fucking talking about. So it's like, yeah, LeBron James with who shoots 40% from 3. Yes, that guy would be obviously the number 1 pick. But this guy is like, the Ringer has called him like a bigger Shea, like a supersized Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, or a shorter Ben Simmons with a jumper, which is scary to think about.
Shorter Ben Simmons with a jumper is pretty
is
fucking
great.
That to me, that's sexier than the Gilgeous-Alexander comp, because like Ben Simmons with a jumper, dude, that's Defensive Player of the Year
right
nominee.
right. So anyway, Cade seems to be a shoe-in for the number 1 pick. If you're Detroit, I think you're crazy not to,
Wonder what
not to
happened
get
with
him.
Killian Hayes now. I wonder if that guy.
But that's I think that guy did not. Unfortunately, he got
he was
injured
all year though. Who knows?
He was injured, and it's like, and now he moves into probably a bench role, and he can see if he can.
Or
play his way
you
in.
move him.
Or you move him if he's still got a little value left on that contract. And again, if you're Detroit, it doesn't fit when you're so shitty. Doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean?
Right.
And also, some people have said that Cunningham. Some people see him as the primary ball handler, but other people say no. He's more of like he can work in a multi-ball handler offense. So that's why when you have all this, you got all these like interesting young players in Detroit with like Sadiq Bey, Stewart, Killian Hayes.
Right.
It's like there's a lot of ball
Dennis
to go
Smith
around.
Jr.
Dennis Smith Jr. That's right. Absolutely correct. But yeah,
But they've got Jeremy Grant, who had a really good individual season. I mean, the team
and you
was
know what?
terrible,
You throw somebody like Cunningham in there, and you have Jeremy Grant. It's like they got lucky. Their odds weren't great to get the number 1 pick, so it's like this team could bounce back pretty fast if Cunningham is as good as people say they are with somebody like with the young guys we just mentioned, and you have Grant on the roster. So it's interesting. There's been reports. I think Shams said that like the Rockets really are making an aggressive push for the number 1 pick, but I think it would take like every fucking pick they had. And then at a certain point, it's like,
I wonder what happens with John Wall, by the way. Like that, they cannot be hanging on to him.
yeah, I mean, John Wall, I don't think they give a fuck either way. I think they're hanging on to him in that.
Jalen Green's going to be a good player, I think.
Yeah, he's coming up. We're talking about
I'm looking
him.
at, yeah, all right. Well, he's probably next, right?
Well, it depends. I mean, some people have him next to the Rockets. I mean, I guess which way should we do this? Like best, like I guess let's do it mock draft style, where it's like let's go down the who's
Cunningham first. Let's go next.
So the Rockets. So Cunningham's number 1, and I think the Rockets would have to trade a bunch of picks. But I also think at a certain point it's like, well, what are the picks for? If you really think this guy is generational, you're not trading him for anything short of like every pick the Rockets have, and even then. Even then, I don't know how you whiff on this. Unless you really like some of the other. So basically, to break this down into tiers,
right? Because I mean, you can say, obviously, I'd rather have Luka than Trae Young, but that trade doesn't look as crazy for the Hawks that it did a year ago.
Especially if and yes, that's a great comp because it's like in especially in a position where, let's say the Mavs gave you 4 first-round picks, you know what I mean? Like, and the Rockets have the ability to theoretically do that.
That's crazy that worked out for both of them.
Yeah, worked out for both of them for sure. Anyway, so and then we're looking at the next tier of prospects, and you've got your Jalen Greens, you've got your Evan Mobleys, and you've got your Jalen Suggs there.
The Jalen Green comp I've been seeing is Bradley Beal.
Yeah. He's not as good a shooter as Bradley Beal. He's a good shooter, but he's not like, for him, it's more about athleticism.
Beal got a lot of hype as a shooter coming in.
Yeah. And he's a good shooter, but
he was getting Ray Allen comps coming in.
Right. And Beal's I think Beal's definitely a better shooter. I think, Green shot 36% from 3, so it's not crazy. But I mean, that's kind of a small sample size he played with the G League Ignite this year. But for him, it's like his athleticism. For him, it's like he's the most athletic prospect here in the draft. And, he's 6'5", just like a big athletic kid. And for my personal board, I have him under the other 2 guys, mostly because he's too sexy. He's too hot a guy. Okay, the other guys, they need to work.
You worry about him in Houston too, which is a big market.
He's a hot guy. He's part Filipino. That's a sexy mix.
He looks like the hot neighbor on a sitcom.
Absolutely, this guy is absolutely. This guy walks in and the crowd, the studio audience goes woo. You know what I mean? Like he walks in to take the protagonist's daughter out on a date, and everyone's like, "Ooh," It's like he's too hot, he's too sexy, and you know what? His game is kind of flashy. I will say he's got a higher upside, I think, than definitely Jalen Suggs, right? Like Jalen Suggs, I think is a really good prospect, but and Evan Mobley, I think you could argue I think Evan Mobley's probably better than both of them in terms of what he gives you.
I guess it depends on what you need though.
I didn't know shit about Mobley. I knew about Green because he made a lot of like headlines when he signed with the Ignite, and he made, he cleared like $1 million between his contract and his shoe deal. So good for him for getting paid, by the way. And I was familiar with Green, but I was not really familiar with Mobley that much. And the more I read about him, it's just like, yeah, this guy's fucking, he's a 7-footer, but he also has like crazy perimeter skills. I mean, he's just like really good on the perimeter. It's like, what if, he's not a great 3-point shooter, but he was 31% at USC.
He's athletic too, is what.
Very athletic. And it's like, what if Rudy Gobert could go out and fucking play perimeter?
Well, is that not what people were saying about Wiseman though?
Yeah, but I mean, I think that was his like overall. That was like, oh, he can blossom into this. This guy is like that good of a defender right now, I think.
This is crazy. This is what I see on,
because we didn't see Wiseman. The other thing with Wiseman is he played fucking 3 games at Memphis. You know what I mean? There was no sample size. Mobley played a full season at USC.
Well, I see this from NBADraft.net is arguably the most exciting and talented big since Anthony Davis in 2012 or Towns in 2015. Has an AD type of ceiling with his two-way ability and overall skill set.
Yeah, no, like my dick gets really like, to me, in terms of the kind of player, like I just think Mobley is the kind of, like, in today's NBA, he's the kind of big that like really gets your prick jumping, if you ask me, because it's like he can play. He's a great defender. You can switch on him, and he can score. He can get you buckets inside, and he's just like a smart. He seems to be very versatile.
If you were Houston though, you got to be looking at one of the guards if you want to invest in Christian Wood, who has shown a lot of promise as well.
It depends. See, that's the problem though. When you're this high in the draft, you just pick the best player you think.
That's
right?
True.
Because it's like, what's Christian Wood's solid, but it's also like you could move Christian Wood, and also does he fit your timeline necessarily?
You sound like a casual dog.
Christian Wood was good, and it was a smart signing, and it was a way for them to add value. But if you really believe
he's
movable
on that contract, I agree.
He's movable on that contract.
Very movable.
Very movable.
Especially with the points that dude, Christian Wood, by the way, shot 51% from the field last year and 37 from 3. Gives you 9 boards, 21 a game, dude. Yeah, he's
fucking good. And look, I guess if I were the Rockets, I don't know. I get why I would be trying to trade for Cunningham, I guess, but because the thing is, like, Green seems a little more developmental than the rest of the guys at the top. Like Cade, I feel like can go in right away. Like Green feels closer to Anthony Edwards, and I mean Edwards put it together the second half of the year, but I guess the Rockets
just crazy that they don't have James Harden. It's still it takes some getting used to because he didn't play that much with Brooklyn. So you're like, man, it's weird for a guy to not be there, and he also just didn't he's still kind of a rocket in my head.
Yeah, I mean he's been there forever, but and I gotta say it's been a weird time to be a Giannis super fan, and then also in my heart have something for Harden because I identify with not living up to your potential. You know what I mean? Like I identify with being liking to party and trying to get your dick sucked too much to really take your career seriously enough. So
I thought I liked to party, and then I went to Nashville, and I'm like, this is like I've seen more party buses than I've ever seen. Like this city, I think they use fucking party bus bikes as fuel for an entire city.
Yeah, Nashville's like the bachelorette party capital.
It's fucking it's insane.
So yeah, I mean, I guess if you're the Rockets, I guess you probably take Green because, and the reporting seems to be like they'll take Green if they cannot get, can't get the number 1 pick. But I think if he goes number 3, I think the Cavs would be fucking thrilled to have Mobley 3. And I think the Raptors would want him even more. Like I think the
Mobley
Raptors
3 is, I mean, imagine Mobley and Siakam together could be kind of exciting.
Well, and if I'm the Cavs though, it's like, again, I think Mobley's fucking really good. And I also think, again, you when you're that bad as a franchise, you don't draft for need, you draft for overall talent. But and I know they have those guards, but it's like it makes sense to me now that I've been like studying the draft. It makes sense to me why they were trying to move off of Sexton, right? Because it's like for them, they probably want to get one of these guards because I think Suggs or Green makes a lot more sense going forward than having two little guards. You know what I mean? Like they basically have two little score first guards.
It's so funny that they picked two score, and now they're both like, well, I guess both of those picks were washed. I do think you can get my one thing I like about Sexton is I think you can buy low. Hopefully, I don't think they're gonna get a ton for him.
Yeah, who knows? And I think Suggs is I really like Suggs. I really fucking like Suggs. I think I would probably put them again on the Stavros Halkias personal board. I would fuck it. I guess Mobley 2, Suggs 3, Green being too hot. He's 4. But I think Suggs is just like going to be a very solid. Like if the Knicks, again, this is again just to show you that I also am inflicted with a little bit of Knicks illness. I was just like Suggs would be a beautiful guard to have on the Knicks. He's exactly what we're talking about in terms of like, you know, the guy that's just going to like get you into your offense, like great athlete, solid, not flashy, but really good passer. Like there've been some Jason Kidd comparisons, but like
the Aaron Fox
flashy
comparisons too.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't know. I really like Suggs a lot, and I think the Raptors.
I would take any fucking better than average point guard. Can we, for once, have a top 15 point guard on the Knicks? Just like for, can we ever? Like, do we have to be dead last again? Like, Elfrid Payton is our starting. Like, respect. He plays hard on D. I respect that, but his offense is just not strong enough in an offensive-minded league right now.
Yeah. No, of course, 100%, dude. And I hope we get that figured out.
I do appreciate that he helped establish our identity defensive.
No. We're done.
We're
not giving Elfrid Payton his flowers. No, shut up.
Elfrid, your roses are coming, brother.
No.
Your roses are coming.
I wish I could mute you.
Love your energy, Elfrid.
It's like not only do you derail, but then you have to also give nuance to your derailment. You're like, I can't. Anyway, Suggs, I think Suggs is gonna fucking rock, and I guess I'm just more. Anytime you're a sexy, super athletic prospect, just Green would be 4 for me. So anyway, Suggs, I think it would make sense for Suggs to go to the Raptors, and then you basically just you have your backcourt for the next generation with Suggs and Fred VanVleet. And Suggs is also bigger; he's 6'4", so it's not you're not as short as you were.
6'4" is not a huge shooting guard.
Huge, but you know, but I mean, VanVleet and Lowry are smaller. I mean, he's bigger than Lowry. What's Lowry? 6'2"?
but VanVleet is small.
He's a good defender, and Suggs is a good.
He's tough. He's thick. He's thick, even though he's small. So
yeah, and Suggs is a good defender too. So I think it would be a really nice.
I mean, VanVleet and Lowry both would go to town on a bicycle seat, dude. Absolutely. Those bottoms.
You watch out that tandem bikes all over Toronto are shivering, are scared that they're going to get the fucking Raptors backcourt. That's going to be their farewell activity. It's like, Kyle, why don't we just take a tandem bike ride around the city to say goodbye? And it's like that tandem bike is fucking sad as fuck. But
I'll tell you what would be happy is a fucking seesaw. Nice and even. Two nice butts.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And yeah, so that's the top 4. That's sort of like the top 4. And those are the guys that everyone says is like, they're the real potential franchise changers. Like they all have a shot at it. And then, what I would say my top pick though, Sam, personally in my life would be high quality CBD from our friends over at cushydreams.com. Wouldn't you say that's the number 1 draft pick for you, Sam?
I go with a little create, a little relax, a little peace. Any incredible. Of those are number 1 overall picks.
They have high upside, folks.
Yeah.
There's nothing like high ceiling, high floor. You're not going wrong when you fucking buy high quality CBD from our friends at cushydreams.com, delivered right to your door, by the way. Okay. And this beautiful product, whether it comes in a fucking 3.5 gram tin, whether it comes in a gram joint or a pack of half gram joints, It's been thoroughly tested, thoroughly put through the fucking combine, just like these prospects. Okay. And look, there's a possibility, because I forgot to ask Harry to be on this podcast. And he keeps track of this, that we don't even have an ad today. And if that's the case, Harry, please cut this out. But if it's not the case, we fully urge you to buy some high quality CBD from our friends at CushyDreams.com. Sit back, kick back, fire up a fucking joint of Create so you can see the possibilities for your team as they draft your next superstar. This Thursday, as the NBA draft unfolds, you'll be able to see it all like Neo when you're puffing on a beautiful, fat 1 gram joint of CBD from our friends at CushyDreams.com. Some of the best CBD on the fucking market, folks. And like we said, it'll come right to your door. You can get any strain you want. Create, Peace, Hustle, Dream. All the good shit is there. You're going to love it. And what you're going to love even more than smoking it, getting it fucking for 20% off. And you're in luck because we got a fucking promo code, and that's PODDON'T. That's PODDONT. You use that motherfucker, you're getting 20% off your next order, folks. Okay? And you notice I didn't say first order. I said next order. That shit is good no matter no matter how many times you got fucking Cushy Dreams. So go to CushyDreams.com. That's KUSHY Dreams.com. Use promo code PODDON'T and fucking smoke a nice little fucking fake weed doobster on us. Okay? Well, 20% on us. You'll be paying 80%. That's CushyDreams.com. PODDON'T. Anyway, Sammy. So, and then we get into the next tiers of this draft, and there's some like interesting prospects. The one guy that everyone seems to really like after it, or it's like, and he's got like a lot of fucking flaws, obviously, but is Scotty Barnes from Florida State, who's kind of like in that Florida State.
Some Draymond comps.
That's fucking crazy. And no one should ever be compared to Draymond, I think, but like,
because of the mind game.
just because Draymond's so fucking smart, dude. Like it's like Draymond also is like such a one of one, like mentality wise. It's like, yeah, his body, you put almost anybody else's brain in that body, and they're probably playing in Turkey. You know what I mean? Like they're not.
He's strong though, and he's fast. I mean, like he's got qualities.
But it's like without his like understanding of defense and his understanding of passing, it's like that guy he's so special. But Barnes is similar in that, like, thinking of him as a defense first guy who hustles, rebounds, works hard for shit, and has every other skill. Basically, people have described him as like he's not a good shooter, but he has every other skill, and he's a competitor, just like fucking
maybe
goes out.
Maybe he's got a little Joakim Noah in him or something like that. You never know. Maybe like that type of mentality. Maybe he's that type of dude.
It's possible. And look, he's he's Patrick Williams, right? Another Florida State last year, similar type of guy where it's like you look at their upside potential, and it's like Patrick Williams. He played a lot better than Patrick Williams, and they're from the same program. They recruit similar guys. Like Florida State has this, like, this is the kind of guy that they like, that they produce now. And he had better numbers than him. And it's like Patrick Williams went 4. I guess he's a little bit of a better shooter than Scotty Barnes, but everyone loves everything about this guy except shooting. And if this guy could shoot, he would be in that, upper echelon for sure. So the problem is, like, offensively, he's probably going to be a little challenged. And this would be Orlando. And it's like, I just don't really like a guy without great offense going to Orlando. Like, the last thing Orlando needs is another, like, tall, lanky guy who plays great defense and kind of clogs up the offense. But he's probably the best player available here. So I don't know. I don't know what the fuck
I don't know what the fuck Orlando's doing.
Yeah. I mean, and you just look at his fucking measurements, 6'9", 7'3" wingspan. That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
And just, but, we'll see from there. And then the next guy that people like is Jonathan Kuminga. Hilarious, great name. Love that. And listen, we're gonna fucking roll through some of these because look, the top 4 is really who I did a lot of research on. And
James
then
Bouknight.
Bouknight, guy who can really fucking score. Some people have had him, for the Warriors. I think the Warriors should fucking trade that pick personally, but Bouknight's he can really fucking score, man. So I don't know. And
we'll
then
see what they can get out of that,
And then let's just fucking zoom around to some interesting prospects and not really like tie it to where they might go just because like I was looking around and I think these people are interesting. There's a guy out of Turkey, his name is Alpern Sengun. This guy was 19 and he was the MVP of the Turkish league, which is after Spain, the best league in Europe, probably. And to be a teenager that's the MVP of the 3rd best league in the fucking world.
Yeah.
There's no way that guy's not going to be good. The problem is his style of game, right? Because he's an old school finesse big. He's like an old school finesse Euro big where it's like, like what is he going to like?
Zydrunas Ilgauskas?
No, I think he's shown like a better, a game.
Guy was an all-star.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And Z was he was also tall. He's more of just, I mean, I guess Z wasn't that good. He had more of like I feel like he shot the ball too. Like this guy's an interior scorer that's just like, he gets you buckets inside. He's not a good shooter, but an incredible low post player. And it's the kind of thing where some people have him like in the lottery. The Ringer has him like at the 20th pick.
Ilgauskas was 7'3". Jesus.
Yeah, they're different players. They're much different players. This guy's more of just like a throwback scorer. And this is the kind of guy that probably, if he's the kind of guy that's like even more so than like what's his name? Okafor. It's like this guy is just a throwback player, but it's like if you're 19 and you're doing this in a big league, it's like, some people have him, like I said, mocked all the way up to like 8. Some people have him down to 20. So it's interesting to know where he goes.
Yeah, it gets unpredictable.
He's just going to be a problem on defense. That's the thing. This is the kind of guy it's kind of like Vucevic, but without 3-point shooting, where it's
but
like
we also, and he also wasn't a 3-point shooter when he came into the league. But it's also hard to know like what team makes a trade.
Yeah, because exactly, that's a good point. Because if I'm the Warriors, let's talk that for a little bit. If I'm the Warriors, I'm making a fucking trade. I'm not keeping 7 and fucking 7 and 14? What do they have? 7 and 12. What the fuck?
You have if you got to just assume Clay is going to be healthy.
Yeah,
and hope he's healthy. And
7 and 14.
Yeah, I mean you've got a lot of picks. I think
if I were them, it's like I package Wiseman and 7, and try and get something, and then because at 14, a guy that I think is really interesting is this guy Chris Duarte, he's 24 years old, right? So it's like he's old as fuck. He's not going to be a star at all, but he's an incredible shooter, and he was all defense in college, and it's like. You can get a 3-and-D guy, and it's like, sure, you're buying low on upside, but it's like if he's a lot of people have him mocked all the way at 14. This guy shot 42% from 3, and he's a great defender. You basically just signed a solid like rotation wing in the draft for really fucking cheap for a rookie scale contract. Like right. I would love if this guy was there's no way I don't think he'll make it to the Knicks, but it's like, I would love it if he fucking made it to the Knicks. We could use a great 3-point shooter that's a great defender to just space the floor. It's like, even if he's not going to be a star, like.
No, I hear that, man.
I love that kind of shit. I think it's like you got to, and if you're the Warriors, if you can trade Wiseman and 7 for a star or like a big upgrade, and then you can get this guy Duarte at 14 to just be a rotation guy, I think that's a home run move. But.
Also, you got Jalen Johnson in there, some other good young players. You got Mo Wagner's little brother, right?
Yeah, fuck. You know what? I'm gonna say fuck him, just cause.
He doesn't have his brother's lips. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, much. He's not. He does not have those DSLs. He's a better prospect, but I would like to get gucked off by Mo. I'll tell you that much. If I had to choose,
when this podcast is officially. We've officially hit that point where it's like, I don't think this is basketball analysis anymore. But there's some guys. Yeah, there's some guys that are kind of interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, well, if we're looking at the Knicks, I don't know. They've been mocked a couple different ways. Like the Ringer has them taking Sharif Cooper, who's just like a good addition.
I say take a fucking
But
risk
not-
at this pick because that's what the Knicks have gotten some good late picks over the years. Quickly being one of them. Tim Hardaway Jr. was a good late pick. David Lee was a good late pick. Where we fucked up was those early picks over the years.
That's true.
Michael Sweetney,
Yeah, IQ was a great late pick for sure.
Yeah. No,
they have another guy, Trey Murphy, mocked over there, which is I would love. Like I just think the Knicks should try and get as much fucking shooting as possible. I don't even think we need to swing for the fences. I think we need to just get as much shooting as fucking humanly possible.
And if we just keep building dude, we were a 4 seed this year. And we are young. We can get better. I think we just need those guys around us to keep the culture intact, and that's when we go for the stars,
Yeah. So it's crazy because you see a lot of different things all the way as far down as the Knicks are. A lot of people have different ideas of what they have. The Athletic has Usman Garuba, who's kind of similar to he's kind of the exact photo negative of the Turkish kid we were talking about, because this guy, he was 19, he played for Real Madrid, and he was just like an insane defender, but he's like a complete liability on the other end. But a fucking great defender, somebody Tom Thibodeau would probably love, just that kind of shit. But who knows? Who knows what the Knicks was going to happen? I'm think
just
they should
scared
get as
of
much
guys.
shooting as
I'm
possible.
scared of guys who can't give you anything on offense at this point, because that's what Elfrid Payton is. That's what Frank Ntilikina is. We have guys.
I
They
think
are
the
both
Knicks
great
need
defenders.
I think the Knicks need as much fucking shooting and like scoring punch as possible.
I'm with you, man. I love Reggie Bullock. I want more guys like that.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean,
Barrett's
we'll see what
jumper
happens.
will continue to improve, but let's get some other guys who could shoot around him. We got IQ who could shoot. I like that, man.
And I just also
keep that
wanted to
rocking.
go. I wanted to just talk about some other guys that I saw that I thought were hilarious. I also wanted to highlight some of the best names. There's a kid named
Moses
Josh
Moody.
Moses Moody is a fucking great name. That's
name.
an awesome name. Joshua Primo. Could you imagine Primo? Come on. That's a fucking great name. Bring him in New York, let him do let him have some local like pizza commercials. It's a Primo with a Primo. There's other guys named, there's a guy named Rocco Prkachin. Great name. Nemius Queta. I don't even know how you fucking say his name. A lot of great fucking names. But yeah, you want to talk about some fucking Warriors trades? Like, I mean, if
Bradley Beal's
the big one, right?
He's the big name floating around who I think he could put a team like if the Warriors have a healthy Klay Thompson and they add Bradley Beal, they're a fucking problem.
And it'll be just like crazy score. I mean, what the fuck? How do you even defend that team? It's insane. You would have to trade basically everything to get him, but
I think like you try to get a couple guys who can play D off the bench, like guys. When they used to have like a Sean Livingston type of guy, can you get maybe even a poor man's version of that would help.
Yeah,
but they've got some young guys that are fun. Poole is kind of a fun player, and they've got.
I think you might have to trade Poole in that to get it. I think you have to trade
Wiseman.
everything.
You got 2 first-round picks, Wiseman, and maybe another first-rounder.
Yeah, or like Poole and like I don't know. Do the Wizards want what the fuck is the other guy's name?
Yeah, retain Wiggins.
I don't know if you have to trade Wiggins to make the money work. You probably do.
Yeah.
Anyway, I also want to talk about some fucking before we go some Lakers rumors that I think are fucking so stupid.
Well, the DeRozan one makes sense because he's an LA guy.
Okay, so the DeRozan one is a rumor that I've seen out there, and he said he would take a pay cut to play for the Lakers. That's all well and good.
Even though they picked Schroeder over him last year.
DeRozan made $27 million last year. Okay, his thought of a pay cut is probably not. You know what the fucking Lakers can afford this offseason? I looked it up. All they have is the mid-level $5.9 million. Like DeRozan's not taking. Like I don't know. I don't think DeRozan's taking that. And by the way, I don't think they would if they're using the. So I also looked up their cap situation. There's been some other talk about like a sign and trade, right? Where they get Chris Paul or they get fucking Russell Westbrook or they get Spencer Dinwiddie, right? So basically it's an either or situation. either you use your mini mid-level or you do the sign and trade, because if you receive a player on a sign and trade, you're hard capped. So you can't go over even for the luxury tax.
So what could they make? I mean, could you somehow trade Kuzma and then you get one of these guys, or somehow trade what's his name, KCP, and maybe make it work?
What you would have to do is, and by the way, Montrez, if he opts in, that's another $9 million they have on their fucking books.
Does he opt in? I don't think he was happy there.
I hope he doesn't opt in, and I think it'll be better for both of them. But
I don't think Trez made a whole lot of sense there. He didn't work with AD very well.
Yeah, no, it made absolutely no sense. They made we talked about it in the offseason pod last year, where they made a lot of regular season moves, and it fucked them in the playoffs because, you can't play Montrez, and then, what they would have to do is they would have to sign and trade. If they wanted fucking Russell Westbrook, right? You would have to fucking sign and trade Schroeder, Kuz, and THT. And it's like,
I like THT.
And it's like, by the way, this is the guy they wouldn't trade for Kyle Lowry last year and not leave them hard capped and give them flexibility. I guess that would, if you send out the player. So it's like, so actually, I don't know if they're doing a sign and trade both ways. I don't know if they would be hard capped, but there's no way they're trading for Westbrook or Paul. They would have to match $35 million or $42 million in salary. This doesn't make any sense.
It makes a ton of sense for them.
What's that?
I don't think Westbrook makes a ton of sense.
Makes no fucking sense. It makes no sense. That's not going to happen. I think if anything,
they'll be fucking fun to watch. They won't be good.
I think Dinwiddie makes a lot of sense, but if they do Dinwiddie,
for sure.
But he wants
money. Dinwiddie wants,
and they would be hard capped.
I'll give him $100 million if I'm the Knicks.
Yeah, I would. And then, by the way, how about this, Sammy?
Yeah,
there's a report that Kawhi. It's not a done deal that Kawhi is staying in with the Clippers.
Kawhi not,
brother.
I don't think he should stay in the Clippers.
Interesting. Where should he go?
I'll give you one hint. I think Kawhi should be a Knick, dude. We're younger.
Yes, sir.
I think Kawhi with Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, Mitch Robinson, we're kind of interesting with Kawhi, man.
Yeah.
Oh, and say we add motherfucking Spencer Dinwiddie.
I love it. I mean, other people
my motherfucking dick.
That's right, bro. That's absolutely correct.
The people who call me a fucking idiot for that right now, suck my motherfucking dick.
Oh, another trade I want to talk about is I saw this going around a little bit. Siakam to the Warriors for Wiseman in the number 7 pick.
Doesn't make sense.
You don't think so?
I think Draymond and Siakam, you don't have rim protection. It's a little redundant, even though Siakam's a much better scorer.
I don't know. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it gives them, like way more switchability. I think you could play them in a super small lineup together. And I also think like Siakam struggled.
I don't hate it. I just
Siakam
don't love
really
it.
struggled when he was the man on offense. He's going to be the fucking third option. Like he will be
have Wiggins?
Wide open. I don't know.
Do you think that team wins it all, though? I think they're going for a home run swing if they can do it, and they're going for Bradley Beal.
I agree with that. I think they'd rather have Beal, but I think Siakam makes a lot of sense over there. It would be really interesting to me to see how they would do it, and then you have personnel for a small lineup, and then you keep your fucking bigs by committee, and you have fucking what's his face? What's the guy that's been there forever? Name starts with the center. The fuck is his name?
On what team?
On the Warriors.
Oh, fuck.
It doesn't fucking matter.
Doesn't
you guys
matter.
know who
Fuck
the fuck we're
Warriors,
talking about.
dude.
Fuck the Warriors. Fuck them. Fuck the Warriors. Listen, the Knicks are gonna pull off. The Knicks are gonna pull off the fucking. They're gonna get another diamond in the rough. You're right,
be like
Sam.
it's gonna be like the fucking Thomas Crown affair, dude.
That's right, brother.
We're gonna roll
robbery.
out. We're gonna get Kawhi Leonard. We're gonna get fucking
Yep.
Spencer Dinwiddie.
And we're
I
going to
like
hit
that.
on both these picks, you motherfuckers. We're going to hit on because the Knicks do better in the 20s. You're right, Sam. We do better in the late round. We know what the fuck we're doing
We
without
do,
the,
man.
you know?
We do
So-
better. I mean, you're not wrong though. We do better late.
Yeah, no, I know it'll be good. So listen, folks, this was the fucking Pod Don't Lie pre-draft spectacular. We will be back next week from two incredibly exotic locations, fucking Long Island and Athens, Athens, Greece, breaking down what happened in the draft and any kind of free agency stuff, any kind of big trades. Because the report is Bradley Beal is going to ask for a trade. If he's going to do it, it's going to be before the draft. So that's going to do it for us, folks. Thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you motherfuckers later this week after the draft. Go Knicks.